Let's have an amazing tea and welcome to week 5 for General Biology 1. For this presentation, as usual, we will be using two references coming from our module and PowerPoint presentation from um, from a school in USA. So let me just share my screen. Um, I also would like to kind of show you uh, a recap of what you have done, but I could not wait for the pictures and videos that you shared. But this is the things that you're doing right now. This is an advanced video. This is for week 3. Yeah, of course, definitely these are not going to be things that you have seen. Um, for the cell types or cell modifications of the frogs, but at least you would have at least a comparison. Okay, so I hope you can see my screen. This is a frog intestine. Of course, they are using a different stain on this one, which is colored pink, which we do not have because we're using iodine. Okay, 40 magnification. That's impressive for an intestine. Okay, I'm not sure which area is this, whether this is lengthwise or a crosswise cut of the intestine. This is how a frog kidney looks like, 40x. This is how a liver looks like, and lungs. Okay, definitely those spaces are for air and the skin. Okay, at 100 X magnification. Let me open another area, uh, another site. Okay, this is, I will not click on it because it doesn't allow, but you will see that the first is a frog heart. There's a frog kidney, frog skin, and a frog stomach. Let's go on our Facebook. If anybody, I suppose not yet. Okay, so I hope you cleaned your room because Mom Janet is reminding you to clean your room. Okay, let me just stop share and go to our lesson proper, starting with the module. Okay, this is called transport system. Mubiyahe na ta. Okay, but why is it transport? Let's go with the learning competencies. Yes, one, it basically focus on the structural components of the cell membrane. Okay, the structure composition of a cell membrane. We will go with the transport mechanisms. Unsa de inicia, no? Of how materials would basically flow in and out into the cells. Okay, there are four mentioned in here. You will be doing diffusion. I'm not doing going through diffusion. You, I'm gonna design an experiment on this one. In particular, we will go with osmosis, and I hope you're gonna enjoy this experiment. This might spend a lot, and I will go in advance because we're gonna be using uh, egg on this one. Egg, vinegar, and lots of salt. Okay. Facilitated transport and active transport. Of course, we're going to be doing exocytosis and endocytosis. So, transport mechanisms refers to the collection mechanisms that regulate the passage of solutes. These are materials such as ions and small molecules through a biological membrane, or of course, a cell membrane, which are lipid bilayers. Lipid, which refers to fats, bilayer, duha ka buok. Dua siya ka layer. And there are proteins embedded in it. Okay. In particular, plasma membrane or cell membrane plays a vital role in the transport mechanisms and separates the living cell from its surroundings. Okay. To perform this, it needs lipids, which make a semi-permeable membrane. Kung saan man ang semi-permeable na ay allow, na apoy dili allow sa semi-permeable. Remember that they are fats. And of course, if they are fats, if you take for instance, kung manghaplas ka og mantika sa imong skin, makasulod pa ba ang tubig diretso sa imong skin? Most likely not, no? Especially kung baga jud kayo imong gibutang petroleum jelly, no? Uh, mo na gigamit sa mga bata para dili mo absorb ang ihi sa skin sa bata. Okay, barrier between the cell and its environment. It also needs proteins, carbohydrates, and protein lipids help cells recognize each other. Mag-ila-ila po dahil sila. Okay? Um, they also communicate, as mentioned over here. Now, this is just an analogy of a transport mechanism. Sige. Structural components of the cell membrane. This is how it looks like. Okay. And you see here na ay phosphobilayer na ay usa sa taas ug na ay usa sa ubos. And there are things embedded in there. Lipid with carbohydrate. Okay. Lipid terms for fats or lipid. Kani, glycoprotein, carbohydrate. Glyco would refer to carbohydrates. And all these other elements, okay, in a cell membrane. No? Okay. They are either a layer or they would allow like a channel for things to go pass or in and out of the cell. This is the model. Okay, proteins from distinct layer, which is like basically a form of a sandwich kana. Okay, natay terminology, hydrophilic head. Kani nga ulo, hydrophilic. Hydro refers to water, philic unsa ka ng philic. Ug napoy isa sa ubos nga hydrophobic. Now, the hydrophobic, phobia. Familiar mo ani na? Phobia kung phobia ka, hadlok og tubig. Wa lang usa, ganahan ka ayo og tubig. So in this case, makaagi pa ka ang tubig kung hydrophobic ning sa naa sa sulod, no? Okay. Maglisod gyud og agi ang tubig, no? Kay dili man ganahan ning area og tubig. This is how it looks like. Okay, and these are areas that we need to consider. Can move within the bilayer. Halaka, no? Makalihok kainin sila. How do they move? Okay, they could drift laterally, no? Pwede sila magbaylo. Of course, 107 times per second. Aso ka, no? Yun na naka-amazing. Yung skin ka to, steady lang na sila. But they are actually could could cross within each other. It is very rare for them to go down and up, down and up. Flip-flopping across membrane is very rare. Wala na nabasa kung ikapila. Okay? Pero lateral movement is actually possible. As temperatures cool, membrane switch from a fluid state to a solid state. No? Same with fat. Kung imong pabugnawan, maunsa ang fat mo kaging. But kung init siya, this is how it looks like. Fluid, viscous. Okay. Monocyte component, which I would want you to remember, especially on its function. The phospholipid, this is the most abundant, and they are amphipathic. Okay, molecules. Amphipathic na tayo terminologies anak sa ubos. Dampen the effects of the temperature. Unsa nang dampen? Okay, integral proteins, transport of substance through membrane, peripheral cell recognition. Uy, cell ba kani or dili? Cell. Okay, they need that for communication. Same with the carbohydrate. Terminology. Okay, amphiphilic, philic, and apopathic. Molecule possessing a polar or charged area and a nonpolar or uncharged, capable of interacting with both hydrophilic and hydrophobic environment. Fluid mosaic model, mosaic, same with the art. Uh, Bungkag siya, no? Okay, describes the structure of the plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is also called as a fluid mosaic model. Glycolipid, combination of lipid, which is fats, and glyco refers to carbohydrates. Protein, hydro, water loving, hydrophobic is water hating, and some other terminologies. Okay, please go through them. Let me stop share and share the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, let me just share on that. This is coming from, let me go ahead and Winston-Salem School in the USA. Okay, for this one, this focuses more on the cell membrane and a very good terminology here. Homeostasis and cellular transport. Let's go. Okay, we have seen that picture already, and it separates the components of the cell from its environment, which basically surrounds the cell. It is also called as a gatekeeper. Yeah? And it is defined as selectively permeable. Dili tanan, pwede diretso lang makasulod. No? Na siya'y pilion. That's selective permeable. And this is a very good term. Helps maintain homeostasis. Okay? Mag-balance kuno sa ang ato ang lawas. Okay. The cell membrane is responsible for maintaining homeostasis within the cell. Okay. Stable internal environment. Okay. So how does that happen? For instance, init kayong panahon, sa may mahitabo ninyo or sa may buhaton ka sa inyong lawas. Okay. You would actually perspire. No? We would need to lose water to 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 cool down. Okay, to cool down your body if there is if the temperature is very hot, and that is a way for homeostasis to happen. The cell membrane maintains through balancing pH, temperature, glucose, sugar intake, water balance. Okay, it does through either active or passive transport, which we'll be discussing more. Okay, it is good to consider pH and homeostasis. Okay, kung acidic, 0 to 6, basic, 8 to 14. Unsay at dapat, unsay neutral. Okay, and you would have 7 for this matter. Going beyond that, um, your body would have to react if you are very acidic or if your body is quite basic. But for some literature, they would require not all areas in our body. No? Of course, your stomach should be acidic, and other areas should be basic. Okay, these are just the presentation kung unsa ng mga basic acidic or neutral. Kay mao man na siya involved sa movement. Okay, this is how it looks like, na? Layer 1 and layer 2. Okay, as a general presentation, prokaryotes, they have cell wall. Na naman ni siya, na napunid rin na, and cell membrane. Eukaryotes, animals normally have only cell membranes, while plants having membranes and cell wall. Okay. Another definition: all cells have cell membrane made of phosphate proteins and lipids. That's why it's called, obviously, phospholipid layer. This is how it looks like, what we have said. No? Hydrophilic for the head and hydrophobic for the tail. Okay, now for passive transport. Passive. Nga naman na siya. Why is it called passive? Okay, a process which, let me just move this one. Okay, delete ko kita. Does not require energy to move molecules from high to low concentration. What is it referring to? High to low concentration. Okay, sorry. These are examples. Okay, you have diffusion, but the high to low concentration would basically vary on this one that will be presented later on. Facilitated diffusion uses proteins to push. Okay, and of course you have your osmosis. Sa diffusion, unsay mahitabo. Okay, let's look at the picture. Diffusion is a movement of small particles across the cell membrane, like the cell membrane until homeostasis, meaning there is balance. No? Okay. Now look at this one, the drawing. What are these things as described in here? Area of high concentration to low concentration. Okay, let's go to this kay kani mas klaro kung what does diffusion refers to. Okay, if we talk about spray and aerosol, okay, the spray itself has what? High concentration inside the can. High concentration of, we call it solute. What is the low concentration? That's the outside low concentration of solute. Solute in terms of what's inside your spray. And kung spray nimo, unsay mahitabo, no? It goes from the spray going outside sa hangin. Okay, that's low concentration of the scent. Okay, the concentration in terms of what is inside uh the spray. There is nothing uh blocking it. Okay? Blocking in terms of how does it go inside our, how does it move from this area to another area? Thinking of the area like an open space. Okay, that is just plain diffusion. Okay, high concentration to low concentration. Now, this is different because this is osmosis. Remember that for diffusion, there is no permeable membrane. I should be saying that one, no? Or a selective permeable membrane, unlike osmosis. Now, the color, dire, let's read first, is the movement of water through selective permeable membrane. Okay, unsa man nga movement na? Okay, now this is a type of movement, different type of movement na. Okay? Water moves across from one area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Unsay atong reference diri? That's water, high concentration of water, while the other actually would refer to the content of something or the solute. No? In this case, we're referring to high concentration of water represented by blue color. Sa pikas nga side, what do you see? No? As you can see here, looking at this, I hope you can see my cursor that on this side, blue lang, tubig ra siya. While on the other side, it contains sugar. So what could be the movement? There is a membrane, no? May membrane sa tunga. Okay. The movement is from high concentration to an area of low concentration of water. That's how it goes. Okay. Now, going back here, we need to talk about the types of solution. There are three in here. Let's flash it. Oh, sorry. Hypertonic, solute, high concentration of solute. Let's talk about solution in general. Let's just have salt plus water. Kung daghan kayo ang salt compared sa water, okay, what would you call that kind of solution? Okay, you call it a hypertonic solution. What about the other one? Hypotonic. What's hypotonic? Contain a low concentration of solute relative to another solution, no? Ang kuan dire would have very, very, very low concentration of solute. The other one, sorry, this is hypo. Sorry, I was stuck with hyper. Hypo contain a low concentration of solute relative to another solution. Unsa may low ani, no? Meaning, ang low is the solution itself and not the inside of the cell in reference to a cell and the environment. What about ISO? Okay, pare-pareha lang ang solute, no? Ang naa sa sulod ug nasa gawas pare-pareha ra ang amount of salt as our reference. Water diffuses into and out of the cell at the same rate, no? Mura lag balance lang kayo. So the fluid that surrounds the body is isotonic, and this is in our body. It should be isotonic, no? Pag di ta manghubag, pag di ta muboto. Okay. So in advance, I have mentioned that we will be doing an experiment on this one. This takes a while. It would take you a week or two to do this one because the first thing that you're going to do, of course, is to dissolve the part of the egg, which wherein we would need vinegar. I'll be showing a different video on this one. Before we could use um, or dip the egg into a hypertonic as compared to a hypotonic solution. Hypertonic, the water or solution outside of the cell is saltier, okay, as we have discussed, reference as salt, than the inside, hyper or more. This will cause it to, kung ikaw ibabad tika og asin, maunsa man kay, this is you, the red color would represent our egg or our skin. Mukikipos, okay, we call it shrinking. And there is a term for this one, plasmolysis or plasmolyzed. Hypo, the water solution outside of the cell means less than. So, unsay mahitabo man. Ha? Okay. Kay ikaw ni, ang tubig kay mosulod sa imuhang lawas, causing you to swell. Okay? And then isotonic, pareha lang. No change in cell size. Kay equal naman siya o salt or solute for this matter. Okay, this is an illustration of hypo, iso, and hyper. No? Hypo, either kanimo o musulod or kanimo o mugawas. Iso, parehara. Oh, sorry. Hypo would mean the solute or the water would go would go in. Okay. Hyper, ang tubig diri mo ay manggawa. Okay, this is what's going to happen if we talk about your red blood cells. Now, if exposed to a hypertonic solution, daghag asin, mukipos. Kung pare-pareha lang, okay ra. Kung ang tubig sa cell mas gamay, ah, kung ang tubig sa cell, yes, mas gamay compared sa gawas, musulod ang tubig, thus making your cell to eventually explode. Okay, active transport. These are just kind of an overview of what's going to be discussed next video, no? Active transport uses energy. Kaning part kinahanan na siya energy. Exocytosis, exo. Materials exit the cell. Okay? Exo, exit. Endo, enter. Pino, lamig ka na. Or I would just say pino. Cytosis, musulod. But this is also called engulfing or cell eating. Phagocytosis, Phago is larger, enter the cell eating. Kaning Pino is, um, there is an overlapping on this one. Pino, in my idea, is that it would go cell drinking, while Fago is a lot more bigger than it's called as a cell eating. Pino and phagocytosis, but both, of course, requires engulfing the material. Okay, this is how active transport, wherein what's needed. Unsay kinahanglanon sa active transport. Naa siya'y, okay, can you see this one red? Na? It would require a protein pumps. Hence, dili na siya mulahos-lahos. Naa siya'y gamitan na protein pumps. Okay, thus it would require energy. Okay, but what is the situation having a low to high concentration? Okay, in this case, naa sa cell, ang carbon dioxide, daghan naman ko, no? Asa man gusto niya nga ipagawas, requiring an energy. Okay, very nice analogy, no? Paubos. Kung active, it's like going uphill. Asa may active ani? Kani. Okay? It would require energy. While kinesia, in comparison to diffusion, osmosis, and facilitated diffusion, walay daghang keme, no? Sulod gawas lang. But unlike for facilitated and osmosis, for osmosis na ay selectively permeable membrane, and for facilitated na alam siya ay channel nga agian. Kinahanglan lang siya na ay channel nga agian. Okay? That's an overview of not an over yes, an overview of active and passive, and a discussion about, okay, cell uh, cell membrane and its function. We called it what? What did we call? If you can remember, transport mechanisms. Okay, so for this one, mm, I think prior to this, I will be asking you to decide on uh, going through the experiment, but I would want you to go through the experiment. No? As done before, we will be using salt, vinegar, and then I would be asking you to have 3 eggs. Tag 30 ang itlog. But let's just say na, mangita tagpaagi nga dili ka kay mo magastuan. Tulo ka itlog kay reserve man na to. Kay basin na ay mga buto. And definitely, kung inyo nang duhaan, mabutog na siya. So, I'll be talking to you about this during our sync session. Okay? This is it for this presentation, and happy learning, everybody.